Welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Powercast Players Pulse. It is our Top 10 Tuesday, and today's episode is going to be Top 10 GameCube games that will never make it to NSO. It's going to be a little bit of a sad one, because I know if you guys are anything like me, you love GameCube games. And don't get me wrong, we've already got some amazing ones, some absolutely amazing ones. And I think I forgot to change the thumbnail, so I'm going to do that right now live. Cryptic is basically informed me, so we're changing it out. We're changing it out as we speak. So no, there we go. I forgot to update the thumbnail. So yeah, no, not another 3D Mario on Switch. Top 10 GameCube games that will never make it on Switch or NSO. And so I have a list of 5 games that I adored on GameCube, and then I'm hoping you guys can kind of fill in some as well. So Nate right off the bat comes in with I'm holding out hope for this one, but I probably shouldn't be. It's a launch title for the GameCube. It still holds up to this day. When I tell you guys, it is one of the best looking GameCube games out there. It is Rogue Squadron. It is so good. It is so good, you guys. Rogue Squadron is one of the best around. I'm hoping if they don't look, Disney, hear me out. You've got a handful of Nintendo 64 and GameCube games that need a collection. Okay, give us a collection of these games. That would be great. Give us a collection so that we can go back and experience some of these. And Nate is coming up with some fantastic ones. Oh my god. So starting us off, okay, keep the list alive. We're gonna do top 10. Top 10. Rogue Squadron's on the list. Period. It's on the list. These are gonna be not necessarily in any particular order, but they are just gonna be our top 10 games that we know aren't making it to NSO. And they should be, because they're so good. So good. And I want to welcome everybody in. I see Cryptic, Nadine, Ryan, anybody else that's lurking. Thank you so much for being here. Nate with another one right off the bat that so many people would love on NSO. It would probably sell subscriptions. And that is Simpsons Hit and Run. Simpsons Hit and Run. So good. So good. And there's a second game as well, right? There was Hit and Run, and then what was the other one? What was the other Simpsons? Road Rage, right? Hit and Run and Road Rage, both just absolutely stellar games. We'll put those two together, but they should be there. They should be on NSO. That would be the kind of announcement if we found out that Hit and Run or Road Rage made its way to NSO. My daughters would lose their mind. I still have to set up an old Xbox so they can play Road Rage and Hit and Run. They love those games. So Jacob's saying Road Rage was my life. Yes. So good. So good. Okay, I'm going to pull one from my list. Nate mentioned it as well, but Time Splitters 2. Okay, Time Splitters 2, amazing game. Literally felt like a sequel to GoldenEye. Even on the box art, you guys, if you see the thumbnail that I finally updated, it says heir apparent to GoldenEye. There was a lot of GoldenEye developers that moved onto, I believe it was Free Radical from Rare to work on Time Splitters. So good. So good. Goofy, arcade, fast-paced, first-person shooter. It was when that game. Here's the funny thing: when that game finally came out on GameCube, I was like, "Yo, we've got the shooter that I've been waiting for." The third game came out the same generation. I bought it on Xbox. You know why? Because of online. You couldn't play it online on GameCube. I have since added that game to my physical collection, and it is worth a pretty penny. It is worth a pretty penny because I don't think many people bought it on GameCube knowing you could play it online on PS2 and Xbox. But Time Splitters, phenomenal game. So good. And it would, I mean, if you guys have been listening to the shows for a while, you know that like I have been wanting Time Splitters to make some kind of a return. I wanted, like, I think it was is it Embracer Group? Is that who it is? You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's who it is that had bought up a bunch of these studios and had the rights to Time Splitters. And I was like, yo, I want Nintendo to pick this up. Make this a first party Nintendo title, because it would fit so well and feel like it was the sequels to GoldenEye. And it just sits. It just sits, and it's so sad. I think, and there was actually a Time Splitters 4 in the works, and it looked so good. It was in the works. They had done quite a bit of work on it. It looked like it was going to be really fun. It was kind of like Fortnite-esque, and it got canceled. Everything got shut down, and it is no more. It's no more. So, taking a look here, I want to see Cryptic's got a bunch. Eternal Darkness. I don't. What do you guys think? Do you think there's a chance we see Eternal Darkness make its way to NSO? Because it was like Nintendo published, right? It was like kind of one of those, like, it wasn't third party. It was kind of more, it wasn't first party. It was like second party. Maybe we see it. I don't know. But on my list for sure, Resident Evil 4. Yeah. And the not Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil Remake is the one that's also on Cryptic's list here. That's on the thumbnail. Because, incredible game. It was so terrifying. It was the first Resident Evil game I played. I loved it. Loved it. That being said, both 4 and Resident Evil Remake are on Switch. They just won't be making it to NSO. No way. Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes is also solid. It I know a lot of people love that game. So, but again, not making its way to NSO. So, guys, this may end up being more than 10. We may go over, and that's okay. You know what? That's fine. We may go over 10. I'm cool with it. Looking at the list, Nate says Smash Bros. Melee, and Joey backs it up with, if we haven't gotten 64, we're not getting Melee. And you guys could be right. Like Nate says, it's because of all the Melee drama. Like maybe that is the case. Maybe it just they don't want it ending up in tournaments. Maybe. I don't know. At the same time, it's such a huge part of their history. Like, why should the rest of us be essentially punished because of that? Like, and they've already set up rules that you can't even do certain tournaments without, like, that's why Smash is not in all of these super majors anymore, because Nintendo set up a bunch of strict rules. So I don't know. It would be really great to see both those games make their way to NSO, but you guys could be right. You could be right. Yeah, but having online, it'd be amazing. Absolutely amazing. So Jacob Freeman says Animal Crossing. I say without a doubt that game is coming. I say it's coming. I think it will move NSO subscriptions if they add that to NSO. So Cryptic says let me leave my Switch on for 20 hours to unlock Mewtwo. Yes, I remember doing so much goofy stuff with that game. Taking a look at the list here, I see Sunshine is here. Joey, welcome on in, you guys. Welcome. Nate says, doesn't Eternal Darkness have a lot to do with CRT related stuff? And it might. I don't know all the ins and outs exactly. I know the game messed with you and like your save file and that kind of stuff. So Joey says Double Dash. I think Double Dash will make it. I do. We've got we've got so many Mario Karts already on there. I think Double Dash will get some love. And we know Strikers is coming. So we can pretty much anticipate the other sports games as well. Looking at my list, you guys, or I'm sorry, Joey's got one here. Rockstar's The Bully. There you go. That's a solid one. Probably not a good chance of that making it to NSO. Looking at the what I have for the thumbnail here, I got 007 Agent Under Fire. Now, this was EA, right? Not Rare. I was so excited to play it. So excited to play it. My buddy Josh, I remember he showed up like after he got off work. I had to be up at like 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. to go to work. He showed up super late. I was like, I didn't care. I think I played it and then went to work. I don't even think I went to sleep because I was so excited for a 007 game on GameCube. It ended up being like okay. Multiplayer was actually pretty fun. And one of the modes was this like sniper versus sniper. But there was an MVP in the I think that's what it was called. I think it was called MVP. So there was a target, an NPC target on this train station, and the train would pull up, and so you're trying to find it if you're trying to get the target, and the other sniper is trying to take you out. And it was such a fun game that like I don't hear it talked, like that mode in particular, I don't hear it talked about that much, but it was so good. It was so good. It was such a good time. And so Nate said, which one did Activision make? They made the second one on Nintendo 64. I believe they had the rights for the second one, which was like, I don't know if it was Tomorrow Never Dies or it was another one of the Pierce Brosnan games. I could be mistaken. EA may have had it by that point, but I thought Activision got it for that short amount of time because EA kind of had it for a while. They actually did Casino Royale on Xbox 360 that was running on like a Call of Duty engine, and it was super fun. The multiplayer in that game was amazing, honestly. Like it was done so well. So well. So Cryptic's got some first party ones. Donkey Konga. You think they would distribute new bongos? That would be awesome. I mean, we could probably use the Joy-Con like drumsticks almost. So I wonder about that one, if that would be a possibility, but who knows? Maybe they do wireless bongos. I'm here for it. I'd pick some up. Jacob says Dragon Ball Z Budokai. There you go. So, I mean, I love that you guys are grabbing some games that like would not be on my list. Right. And, you know, Nate mentioned early on Rogue Squadron, I think it was 3 also came out. It wasn't quite as good as the second game because the first game was on 64, and that's another one that could be brought to NSO, but won't. And I want to say even Republic Commando was on GameCube. I know it was on Xbox. That was also fantastic as far as Star Wars games go. But again, that's already on Switch. You can already pick it up if you want to. So, okay, here's I played a lot of fighting games on GameCube. All right. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance was such an incredible Mortal Kombat. I don't know if people loved it as much as I did. It was one of those games that like I would play with buddies forever. And Eric, if you're listening, I remember vividly playing in your room with like, because he lived with a bunch of guys and they'd always have LAN parties going with like Halo. So we'd jump off Halo and then play some Mortal Kombat. And like, it was just super cool to go hang out there and just play Mortal Kombat with a bunch of people. And it was the Mortal Kombat. It reminded me a lot of Soul Calibur because I think everybody was using swords, if I remember correctly. And it was fantastic. It was fantastic. It was so good. It was so good. And then the other fighting game that I played a ton on GameCube was Bloody Roar. I don't know if any of you guys remember Bloody Roar, but that was a game where your character could essentially transform into like a werewolf, if you will, or different animals essentially. And so that game was super fun. I played a ton of Bloody Roar as well as Mortal Kombat. So Nate says Def Jam Fight for New York. Yo, absolutely stellar title, made by the same people that did WCW versus NWO Revenge, that did what was it, No Mercy, and they also did WrestleMania 2000, right? Fantastic. Like, such a great game. Would be super fun to go back to, honestly, but probably lost to time due to licensing and everything like that, but would be great to see it. Cryptic says, do you think they will release Twilight Princess GameCube or wait till Wii NSO? That's a good question. I think they would do it. I hope they would do it on GameCube because I think it's the better version without having to swing the Wiimote around. So hopefully, and it could be a couple years before we see Wii anyway. It probably will be. Honestly, they're probably going to get a good bunch of GameCube games in the app. But the thing with Twilight Princess is we can still hold out hope that they do the remaster on Switch 2, in which case they would probably release the GameCube and or maybe the Wii one at that point, because the other one had already been released and given a long enough cycle to be sold. So it'd be interesting on how that one goes and whatever they do. Oh, Cryptic's got Beautiful Joe. Yeah, that was a game that was very popular on GameCube. And I remember, like, it's been a few years now, but I remember showing up at a garage sale and they had a stack of GameCube games, and I ended up picking up both of the Beautiful Joe games from a GameCube. So Nate says, whatever Bomberman was on GameCube, I still want all the old ones. That's it. I'm breaking my Switch. I mean, that's I hear you. Yeah, any Bombermans would be great. Brian says probably not going to see any Capcom games. So what's interesting is every Mega Man on Game Boy is on NSO right now. So Nintendo has worked some licensing deals with Capcom for the Mega Man games. I believe X is also on the Super Nintendo. I believe, I could be mistaken, but I believe that's the case. So they have done some work with Capcom. Brian says, or Konami, and even like Castlevania and Contra are on the Genesis as well. There's Genesis on the NSO Sega Genesis. There are some Konami games. So there have been some deals done that have been able to get some of those games over. So that's what makes this whole conversation interesting, is because we don't know exactly what Nintendo has up their sleeve when it comes to working with third parties. And Nate says Street Fighter is on Genesis 2. That's correct. Yeah. So handful of those third party games have made it. Brian says, where's Clone Wars? There you go. There's a good one. More Star Wars games for sure. The other game I was thinking about, as Nate mentioned, like Street Fighter. Oh, it was on the tip of my tongue for GameCube game. I can't believe it literally came in my brain and then just left. Just said, nah, we're good. We're not going to stick around for that one. Hopefully it'll come back to mind. And again, like, you mentioned Clone Wars, so good. Like, such a fantastic game. Even like that's where Lego Star Wars was born, right? Like on GameCube, I believe. And so many great Star Wars titles back on the GameCube. Even like the Bounty Hunter, right? Had like Jango Fett on the cover. I think that was another pretty well well loved Star Wars game that was on GameCube. So I think we've gone over 10, you guys, which is totally understandable because there's a lot. What about any RPGs that you guys played on GameCube? So I mentioned Bloody Roar earlier, Brian, because that was one of my favorites. Like I loved it. Bloody Roar was it was really good, really really good. And now I'm trying to remember. Well, Cryptic mentioned some good one. Was lose an arm and a leg to any of the street games, NBA or NFL. And I want to say there was even an NBA Jam on GameCube that was really good. I think so. Yeah, those would be incredible. But again, lost to the licensing, I'm sure. But would be absolutely fantastic on GameCube NSO. And I mean, don't get me wrong. The list of NSO games for even just first party, they're going to be great. I think it's going to be really cool when we start seeing Fire Emblem and some of these games that like are super rare and hard to find for GameCube that they cost quite a bit now to try to go find the disc. And so if some of those games get put out on GameCube, that's going to be great. Cryptic says Lord of the Rings, The Third Age. It was a turn-based RPG that came on like 3 discs on GameCube. There you go. So that's some more. That's what it was. You just reminded me because it's licensed IP. So the Lord of the Rings games were there was a couple of them that were really good. I think Return of the King was pretty well done. I think even The Hobbit was decent. But I know what I was thinking about. It was the X-Men and I think it was a Wolverine game. I can't remember. It may have been X-Men 2. I don't know. Maybe you guys remember, but there was some movie X-Men games on GameCube, and they were a lot of fun. They were done very well. And I can't remember. I think the Wolverine game that I'm talking about was on 360, not GameCube. But I remember playing an X-Men game where you played as like Iceman and stuff, and I think it was on GameCube. So that's the one that I was thinking about when I was reading about Konami. X-Men Legends was another one. Yes. Yeah, I love it. Both Brian and Grumpy Goomba at the same time said X-Men Legends. Oh, and Cryptic as well. There we go. Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Oh, that was GameCube. Was that GameCube? I played it on 360. So it started on GameCube and PS2. Gotcha. Brian says Two Towers will never come to NSO. Yeah. Pretty unlikely. Unlikely that we'll see it there. So there is a Nate said Hydro Thunder and Rush. There you go. I don't know for sure, but the other one that was from like some worth noting anyway, that were from Acclaim, which somebody just bought Acclaim not that long ago, I think, and bring back some of their stuff. Well, I mean, we know, I think Turok is coming back, right? But Turok on Ryan, Turok was fantastic on GameCube, and so was Extreme G Racing. I don't know if you guys remember those, but I remember that was a launch title, and I ended up with Extreme G Racing. So those were fantastic games that I doubt we will see. Cryptic says any Monkey Ball games coming to NSO. I never played any of them, but I heard they were fun. Yeah, those were stellar games. And I don't think they're on NSO, but there are some to purchase right now. I have to mention this one because it was such a crazy time in gaming, and I can't believe this game even existed or was on the GameCube. But Brian says, when do we get high-res remake of BMX Triple X? And that was a crazy game. Like, crazy game. Very adult. Like, can't believe it was even a thing. But that was at the same time that like Xbox was getting, and it might have been on GameCube as well, but like there was a Man Show game. Like, I don't know if you guys remember the Man Show, but like it was unhinged, right? And that BMX Triple X was like right in that line. And this was the time when like Tony Hawk was thriving, and so like we're getting a new Tony Hawk, so we're never going to see those games on NSO, but they were so fun on GameCube. I loved them. And but again, we're getting remakes, so we're not going to see them make their way over. Grumpy Goomba says, give us Cubivore so we don't have to spend hundreds of dollars to play it. Okay. Not one I'm familiar with, but I love seeing that. California Speed. Love it. Love it. Cryptic says, so we see M-rated N64 games. Do you think 007 can be an M-rated GameCube app? So the 007, if I remember correctly, I'm looking, it was rated teen. At least the Agent Under Fire game that I mentioned. I think there was also Nightfire was another one. So that might have had an M rating. I'm not reading that one from Brian. Nate brought up Lollipop Chainsaw, right? Like I feel like that was a little bit later. Was that GameCube? I can't remember at this point, but I do remember that game. Like, and that was pretty crazy. So I think like Gauntlet Legends maybe was also another GameCube game that was pretty fun. But again, lost to time. NFL Blitz. I believe there were some versions of NFL Blitz that made its way onto GameCube. I know for sure it was on 64. So Brian says all of the 007 games were rated T. Gotcha. So well, there you go, guys. I feel like we got a pretty good list. It was called Dark Legacy, the Gauntlet game, right? I think that's what you're talking about. That was a fun dungeon crawler for sure. So Gauntlet Dark Legacy. So there you go. I think we did way more than 10. If you guys are listening to this after the fact, whether on Spotify or YouTube, make sure to let me know in the comments what games we missed and that you would have added. And thanks so much for being here live. I appreciate you guys so much. And we will see you in the next one. Bye now.